Okay, yeah, we can go ahead and start now. All right, so yeah, small group. I know a few of y'all have seen before. There's a couple of new people in here though, I think. So again, like any generic questions, anything that I can go through, whether it's live, whether it's replay, that's what these office hours are for. So yeah, please go ahead, anyone that has any questions. Otherwise, let me see here. I can replay, I guess maybe a few of the trades that I thought were decent today. But I will say today, not only today, honestly, like Monday and Tuesday have all been a little bit odd, right? Many times we'll see this um, pushing into FOMC, right? Not just FOMC, sometimes we'll see this into CPI, into NFP, and into FOMC is probably like just the most clear example where we'll just get really weird price action, pretty range bound, pretty choppy. I know the overnight moves have been significant, but at least the New York sessions have been pretty limited. Like even today, right? We had a $3 range and then previous to FOMC starting. And that's something that we can generally expect, but it's also something we can confirm with the heat maps, right? So the fact that we've been seeing so much positive gamma, we've been seeing very condensed ranges, that's another clue for us, right? That we're not going to expect anything crazy throughout the day. Um, Although it looks like SPY is the condensed range. QQQ actually moved a bit more, like $4 or $5. Hey, Prolific, how's it been going? Yeah, so I mean, I'll go through any questions there. At least, even with FOMC going on, we actually don't have a very large range. Like even with FOMC happening, we got QQQ showing like a very condensed, sort of like a rug pull on top of a reverse rug pull. So like this is showing a very compact range on QQQ, right? Basically from 658 up towards like 660. And actually off 660 is exactly where we rejected on this. Who's talking today? Is Powell or is it the new guy or how's it? I don't know who's talking, but when they started at 230, right, we got pretty big rip. Basically, we're ripping from this floor to the ceiling, right? Like we went straight from 658 up to 660, rejected off there. So even with FOMC going on, like obviously I would recommend sizing lighter, but like a lot of times these levels will still play out, right? The big issue with FOMC, and it's the same issue we see during mock, so end of day close, and then same thing with market open, like first 20, 30 minutes, is the what he says can cause such rapid reshuffles that unless you're lightning quick or you already have your sell limits set or your buy limits, it's going to be pretty hard to get into and exit positions as quick as the maps and the charts are fluctuating, right? So that's the big risk with these periods, right? It's not always that the levels themselves don't work or anything per se, but it's more that just they're swapping around at a rate of change that's just too quick for us, right? Or that may be too quick for us. Okay, Powell, last talk. Okay, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, as y'all can tell, I don't read any of this new stuff. Like I know FOMC is happening. I don't know anything else past that. Devoid, this was your worst week since you've joined. Yesterday, especially, nothing worked. Devoid, can you DM me? I don't know if it's too much hassle for you, Devoid, but if you can like literally send me every trade you took, Monday, Tuesday, or whenever this rough patch started, right? Like if this started last week, then start sending me all that stuff. Just send me like a screenshot of what the Trinity was at that moment, and then I can pull up the chart and all of that. I just need to see and just give me a rough idea of what you were thinking, right? Like just send me a screenshot of Trinity and just be like, look, I thought this was a floor, this was a ceiling, so I took this trade, right? Just one sentence on each, and then it's at least enough for me to get it sort of into your mind. And then probably what we can do is we can just just send me all that stuff. Let me look through it, and then we can probably set up a call. Um, so we probably set up a call. I don't know, maybe Friday or early next week. Devoid. But I will say Devoid. It has been pretty tricky. I don't know when you joined. I've seen you around, so I don't know roughly when you joined. I would say it's at least a few weeks or maybe even a month. Um, But we have had like a pretty big transition in what we've been seeing, right? So I think like people joined 1 month ago, for example. You came in when headlines were flying. Headlines are still flying, but like back then it was very, very volatile, right? Like VIX was up at like 30 plus. Um, And so it was difficult in a different way. A lot of times when we are pushing all-time highs, I know it's not as crazy. Like if you look at the chart, you're not like, oh, like there's a million moves this way and that way. But it's sometimes equally as difficult, right, to pick out the one or two good moments if we're having a very choppy day, very slow bleed, slow grind up or slow bleed down. It can be just as hard to find good setups there. So it's the change in environment, I think, is likely also throwing. I don't know if this is the case, but it's possible that that's also throwing you off a bit. 1 month exactly. Okay, yeah. So it might be exactly what I said actually. That like maybe you came in, we're dealing with very volatile environment, adapted to that. Now they've shifted some of the conditions on you, and it's throwing you off a bit. So um, and that's normal, right? Like I think people who have been here longer, let's say like if they've been here when we were grinding very high last December, let's say they had seen these kind of conditions before, so they kind of that those memories sort of triggered up, right? But then obviously for you don't have that knowledge since you joined more recently. So that's probably what's throwing you off. We had people have the opposite issue, right? Which was they were dealing very stable, low range, like very calm maps, let's say, not very heavy reshuffles throughout the day. This was like January, February. So then when March hit, all the headlights started coming. They had the opposite issue of like, oh, they have to adapt to a now very volatile environment, right? So whatever the reason, a lot of times, change will throw us off. So yeah, I'll get eyes on what you're doing, Devoid. So if you can spend some time tonight, tomorrow, or on the weekend, and I'll take a look at all that stuff. All right, Shorty, indices are fun. There's 360 tickers. Oh, okay. Well, let me pull up. So, Shorty, I'll be honest, I never look at cake. So let me pull this up before I say anything. Um, so I can see exactly what was going on for you. So you said you had cake on radar. Let me pull up the chart as well. So cake on radar since the weekend. Whoa, what is this? Sophie? Bruh. Wait, didn't wasn't someone in longs? Those things are fried. Yeah, that's unlucky. Um, earnings killed that one. Okay, so cake. Oh shoot. Shorty, is this a position you're in right now? Cake has earnings tonight. Oh man. Why is everyone playing earnings? Um, yeah, let me see what this looked like Monday. So I'm trying to roughly get like I guess what was the trade you took? Are you targeting the 70 node? This map is almost useless. Oh, these are monthly expirations. That's also why it looks a bit funkier. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say something's throwing me off about this. Yeah, a lot of times these monthly expiration tickers will like just move. They'll reshuffle a lot less or a lot slower, right? Because we don't know, is this 70 after earnings or is this 70 in 2 weeks, right? When we hit May 15th. So um, these monthly tickers can be tricky in their own way. So generally you got to look at them, you're looking at them more macro. Yeah, I forgot. I need to stop running these on stages. My computer is really slow. Just do it on Zoom. So Shorty, what's the actual trade you have? Oh, I think you're typing it out. Um, because I don't know if you're targeting 70 or are you saying you're waiting for 70 to go hit? I guess, yeah, just give me some grasp of what you did. Wait, what? Was I pulling up the wrong? Wait, sorry, Shorty. I think I see what you're saying now. Oh, okay. This thing had a huge reshuffle today. Okay, I hadn't scrolled far enough. Sorry. Um, so we have 57.5 and we have 67 and 70. So I don't know if your main thesis was targeting 70. That has definitely weakened a bit just with this huge reshuffle that happened. It looks like we're a bit more split bias. Whereas if you're looking on this on the weekend or yesterday, it was definitely looking like more one-sided. Um, the thing is, like with the chart, we're kind of just in the middle, right? Like honestly, Cake, I'd almost be biased to say like earnings is just gonna rip this one way or the other. You might as well wait for earnings and just play that reversal after earnings, right? So like let the contracts get IV crushed, then we can actually tell which way it's going. But at least right now, this is pretty 50-50 toss up for me. Um, I know previous when you were first looking at it, Shorty, it was more one directional. So like, if that's what your thesis was, I understand that. But by this point, if it's a lotto size, I guess you can leave it through earnings. But otherwise, I'd probably wait for earnings. Contracts are all going to get crushed, and then you can just see if if we go hold around 70 or go hold around 57.5, can you play a reversal off any of those? Either, sorry, not any, either of those. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I get pretty annoyed with these monthly expiration ticker. Maybe I'm just impatient, but I feel like they take so long to play out that I just stopped trading them a while. So you bought 65 calls on Monday because of the upside node and sold them with 20% profits. Um, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I think yeah, I mean it was a bit of a node chase, like I'll be honest, but the fact that you already trimmed out and like you got a bit of the move you wanted trimmed out, maybe the earnings run up, maybe probably the IV helped you a little bit as well. I think that's fine. But yeah, I think for the future, make sure you're also tracking what floors are around. And in a case like Cake, right, where the floors don't exist until today, like obviously today one showed up, but previous to today, we didn't have a strong floor. If we switch down to like the hourly, obviously it worked because you caught this big push on Monday. But if you would have held these through to today, like we've just chopped out basically, right? We've chopped in this like $2 range, $2 range, since Monday. So hopefully that helps, Shorty. Like I think, yeah, luckily it worked out fine, but I think I'd encourage try to make sure you have strong floors in the future because even previous to Monday, we had already been consolidating. And a lot of times leading up to any kind of catalyst, right, we'll get a big period of consolidation before you get this earnings catalyst to sort of, break us out. We have this range that's built. So then, what'll happen is earnings is just that's going to be what decides if it goes up or down, right? So yeah, if it's I mean, I don't want to say it's pure luck, but like because there was volume upside. But I probably wouldn't be taking that trade too many times. Are you gonna? Yeah. Oh, I just let you speak, Shorty, if it'll help you to explain it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, so I think I mean there's a couple cases, right? Like in this case where we have upside target, not much of a floor. I think absolutely what you said, right? Of like, okay, you're tracking the 61.5 level. So if you're playing off that, you're saying, okay, Friday we hold, and now you're gonna, play basically bounce off that same level. That's fine, right? Because there's an absence of a floor on the heat map, but you're kind of driving your thesis for where we're gonna bounce off the chart, right? So I think that's fine. And usually that's what I'll So in some way, right, if you have an upside target, you still need to find some kind of floor, whether it's off the chart whether it's off the heat map. Like on like best trades, we'll just have it on both, right? But that's not always going to be the case. So I think like that process is fine if that's what you're asking. And that's so most times, yeah, when I'm tracking any kind of heat map I like, I'm looking for what levels I see that can reverse price, and then I'm just exactly what you said. I'm just going in and I'm setting in trading view alerts, right? I guess you could also set them in Skylit itself. I just prefer to set them on trading view. It's just a little quicker. But yeah, that's all I do. So like, at this point I just so let's say right now we're in the middle of a range, I'd probably just mark out, downside node, upside node, and just see which one gets triggered, right? Um, so that's how I'm treating it. I don't know if does that answer your question? Okay. And also like feel free any of these cases, right? If you have like some other tickers you have like on your watch list, if you just want second opinions, you can feel free to DM to me. Or you can also just send them in the trading chat and just say hey everyone, like what are your thoughts, right? So also feel free to share some of your theses and probably everyone else will chime in. Actually, I think you had a thread. I swear I saw a thread from you a while back where you're posting some of your ideas. Um, so yeah, it's up to you, but also, don't or sorry, feel free to get any feedback you may need. So that will help steer your decision. Um, okay. Yeah, anything else on this trade specifically? Oh, yeah. So what I recommend is right. So what I'd recommend, I haven't checked the Intel setup, so I don't know if like it was that much stronger. I know the move was stronger, but what I recommend is get a little more picky. So if right now you get your watch list down to 30 tickers, what you can work to do is just say, okay, first look back and see which setups have worked better than others. But then another thing you can do is like, for example, what I said, right? Of like, okay, you have an upside target on cake and maybe some other ticker. But if one of the charts, or sorry, if one of the maps has a floor, the other one doesn't, maybe just throw out the one that doesn't and focus on the one that does, right? So see if there's like try to look through all 30 setups and see and get very like nitpicky. And if you have to make up a very small excuse to get rid of one, that's fine, but the whole point is just try to narrow it down to a number that's manageable, right? Because you can keep track of, let's say, like 3 to 5 heat maps throughout a day, but can you keep track of 30 heat maps and 30 charts? Probably not, So it should be something that's, maybe you have three, maybe let's say like 5 to 10 a week, right? And some people go even smaller. Some people trade like once every other day, right? So, but yeah, I would try to reduce a little bit, try to get a little stricter on some of your requirements. Another thing you can look for is do you have a good alignment between the GEX and the VEX? Is there check the IV on the contracts if they're too inflated because we're running into earnings, maybe you just skip the trade overall. So like try to come up with any other criteria that can help differentiate like what is top setup versus a V setup, um, and that should help you out. And if you need help like sorting through them, let me know. We can also I can help you look through them, or we can hop on a call and just just chat through whatever watch list you have for the upcoming week. But yeah, hopefully that helps. But yeah, I think reducing the number you're looking through will definitely be a big help. Otherwise, it's just a bit overwhelming. Yeah, yeah, and feel free to reach out anytime if you just want any thoughts there on how you're ranking them, etc. Um, okay, awesome. Yeah, yeah, no problem, Shorty. Chris, or sorry, Golf Dad asked something. Big curve for me last week into this week was having way big. Golf Dad, I don't know by way bigger bag. You mean like your portfolio grew, or is this something else you're trying to say there? And Chris, Glitch posted an NVIDIA chart where purple Atlas nodes were getting larger prior to the drop. Oh, Chris, you're doing a replay on Atlas or you're doing a replay on like the standard heat map? Let me. Is Crystal in here? Shoot. Oh yeah, yeah, he's still in here. Yeah, let me go check NVIDIA. And then, well, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to replicate it. It depends what his setting. Do you know what his settings were? Was it next plus N? Was it current? Like, do you have a screenshot by chance? Well, yeah, but I guess they can vary a lot. So, for example, yeah, I guess even right now, right? Like, it depends on the next plus N, how many nodes he's showing, what time frame he's on. Like, there's a lot of things on Atlas that can vary what the actual output is. So it's hard to replicate unless you're have some idea of what he was showing. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you can find a screenshot, DM it to me, and I should be able to like mess around with the settings and match it eventually. But I mean, it's hard to know, right? Is he looking at Gex? Is he looking at Gex plus Vex? I would assume he's looking at Gex. Um, like I doubt he'd be looking very far out on Nvidia just with all the earnings and FOMC and like so much stuff coming out. But I would assume he's probably looking at he might be looking at current Gex or current plus, but a very low, maybe like only three or something. But yeah, it's hard for me to say. Oh, he didn't screenshot the upper part with the settings. Bruh. That's annoying. Yeah, send me the screenshot anyways, and I'll spend some time digging through see if I can duplicate or replicate the settings later. But yeah, that's a bit annoying. Kind of. All right. Yeah, thanks, Chris. But yeah, that's 100%. That's probably why you're not able to replicate it. Is because probably some setting is a little bit different than what you have. So yeah, I'll try to spend some time going through and see if I can help you out with that later. All right. PK, ASTS. Uh, okay. Wait, this is Atlas. All right. So ASTS. All right. Looks like it's been falling the past week. Honestly, has been just grinding down. Definitely we have the 69 strong floor. I don't know what did this look like. Let's see what it looked like in the morning. But it looks like under overshoot. Sorry, not undershoot. Oh, yeah, an undershoot of the $69 node looks like is where we ended up bouncing. I wonder if 68 had any volume. No, so yeah, we basically just came down, undershot this negative node, and then got a full bounce. So, or not got a full bounce, but it looks like we're getting a pretty good reaction here. So again, this is why generally as we approach any kind of negative node, if you come in here, market buying, you're going to be sitting through that chunk of drawdown. So a lot of times, just go ahead, give yourself like a 10-20% discount. You're probably getting filled, right? As we overshoot a full dollar. And then this turns into a pretty nice trade, honestly. If you're not in yet, I guess you could wait and see if we revisit this level and hold. But yeah, I would have been looking for that 69 overshoot. Would have been your big clue there, PK. Okay, you're in OPEX calls. Holy shoot, you bought the 90 strike? Okay, let me check the Vex if I say anything. Oh, okay. So those are probably going to be too far out the money, I would expect. It's possible we reverse. It's possible we sort of V-shape here. I would realistically probably be looking for maybe like 75 this week, 80 next week, maybe 85 the week after. But I do know like ASTS when it moves will move really big. But yeah, the general caution I'll give there. When did you enter this, PK? The general caution I'll give is like don't buy never buy the strike of the node you're targeting, right? Always there's a risk that something shows up in the way. So for example, 85 has decent volume, so this could continue growing. Well, not really actually. Like so it's very small right now, but this is at least relative to the few nodes around it. This could start growing and get in the way as a gatekeeper. The other thing is like if you buy the 90 strike, it's oh you have debit spreads. Okay, debit spreads will help you though. Okay, but yeah, if you're doing just outright calls, like out, just give it a few nodes of buffer, right? So you're buying 86, or even what I'll do is if I see this 85 node, I'll buy even under that. So I'd be looking at like 80, I don't know, 80 to 83. But if you today around 70, did you buy on the way down or on the way up? At the bottom, so not around 70. So you bought around 68, 69 then. Okay, so like if you caught this down here in any of this consolidation, I think you're in a pretty good spot. The big thing to track is this 60 level. So we have a pair of nodes next week and 2 weeks out. You're at 60. So if these start picking up really big volume, I'd get kind of concerned. But at least right now, it looks like the 6970 is holding pretty well. So if we can hold this the rest of the week and maybe get a slight push up towards 72, 75, that would definitely be in your favor. I know with debit spreads, you can also can afford to hold through a little bit more. Um, yeah, I guess the only thing I didn't do is actually check. Looks like this is a long time since we've had levels in this area. So yeah, I'd say the chart thesis is definitely a bit weaker on this, is the only comment I'd make. We did take out this wick over here. So we do have a couple wicks down here actually. So decent chart thesis. And then if you're using macro, if you're looking at a macro fib, this is probably something. I have to check. Yeah, so I mean we swept that 0.707 level. Yeah, so I don't mind this at all. Um, I guess from a news perspective, I don't know if any of that stuff that's going on with like the SpaceX IPO and all that. I don't know if that'll impact this or not. But that's the only thing. I don't know the timeline on that either. So that's the only thing I can think of that would derail this news wise. Well, and of course, Iran war stuff can also derail this. All right. Yeah, hopefully that helps PK. Who else is? Oh, TE. So Spotify. All right. So, I mean, yeah, Spotify just got slapped on earnings, right? Like full 70, $80 down. We don't really have like super strong level. Like if you look at Spotify, this is a very cluttered map. So to me, I'm not liking it too much. Like, yes, we had a floor down here at 430 that we held. We equally had a floor at 435, 425. Like, everything here can be a floor or a ceiling at this point, is the way I look at these maps. It's also very low volume. So Spotify I probably wouldn't be too interested to trade. The reason we're seeing a lot of leftover high nodes, so the reason OPEC's up here at 500 is because these are likely positions taken before they drop $70 on earnings, right? So I tell people this all the time, like OPEC's, like this is real volume, right? Like this is real positioning, but a lot of times those positions will be taken before some big catalyst like earnings, right? So then what's happened is like, sure, price was trading up here at 500, 510, maybe we had big volume at 500. Maybe 470 as well. Maybe they thought it would drop. Now that we've had a huge tank, probably the volume was actually a little higher. Maybe it was up at 520 and 500, and now it's likely rolling lower, right? So now 500, I would be really surprised if we go back to 500. 470 is looking like max upside on OPEX. And it's only been 1 day since earnings, right? So you still want to keep an eye on this and see if we reshuffle lower and stuff. So that's probably why some of these nodes are very offsides, especially if you look at Vex. Yeah, so Vex is still showing like all that upside. But it does look like 445 is a decent level where we do have volume this week and next week. Um, but yeah, like just yeah, make sure you're taking the basically the worst case scenario on Spotify, which would be this 470. And keep tracking it 430, 440. If these keep growing big time and like 500 fades, then that means volume is still just ripping lower. So it's probably going to be something you avoid. I would probably avoid this just off this first column alone, though. Like this is a mess of a map. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Netflix. All right. Let me get some water. Um, so Netflix had a decent floor yesterday at 90, actually. Looks like we got pretty close and bounced off of that, or basically tapped it. So that would have been this leftover positive note here. At least at the moment, I'd be looking at this and saying, let me think here. Yeah, I do think 94 is likely our ceiling here, 94 to 95. Just because it's where we got this, support flip to resistance. We never retested it, but we do have this level there. The 95 being if it just comes and takes this wick here, or this pre-market, even this like opening market here. So that's probably what I'd be looking on Netflix on upside to like slow it down. Otherwise, I guess you can look at 90 double bottom, but this node has faded. This node has shrunk a lot. Yeah, so that's probably what I'd say on Netflix. What was the what was the last one? Oh, FS. Wait, sorry, First Solar. All right, First Solar. Man, y'all gotta stop asking for the earnings tickers. Um, Wait, this didn't even switch. Oh, I added it to my favorites. Whoops. All right, FSLR. Did they get news? This is a pretty big sell-off. All right, yeah, let's FSLR. We pushed away from this 192, 195, so that's definitely our ceiling there. We don't really have a strong floor. Um, like chart-wise, I'm looking at this 185. Looks like it can be pretty strong. Map-wise, there's basically no volume down here. So FSLR, I don't know if this is meant to be an earnings gamble, or if you're like what the thinking was on it, Baba. But yeah, like I guess OPEX Vex is bullish, but that's about it. Like there's not, I mean, there's this ceiling here, 192, but there's not any floor. So yeah, FSLR, I don't know if I like this one too much either. Chris, shout out to Real Blonde Broker. Oh yeah. Her and honestly everyone. Like I think Jack has put out some really nice stuff. And I think even Versace was getting involved today. Architect, obviously. So yeah, a lot of the people taking a lot of time out of their day to put some messages in Oracle Insights and Swing Ideas. They've been, I think even Flow. Some people have been doing a lot of the Flow stuff. It's yeah. Please, everyone, be respectful of their efforts, right? Like this is something they're doing out of goodwill, and they're typically extremely accurate. So not that there's much to complain about, anyways, but I would not be complaining at all if. All right, AP. Sorry, what'd you say here? 7130 ceiling, 7110 floor. I think at the time you had sent that image, that was true. So actually, 7130 did hold. If we were like 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, actually 7130 did reject for like a good $6. Um, Probably what's happened here. Oh, okay, yeah, definitely. So when we rejected 7130, so you're correct in SPX looking at that as a ceiling. But what happened is this 710 has just been there, and then I would say by that point, like by the time we hit 7130, that's breached enough above 710. Then now you can say 710 has flipped back to being a floor, right? So I know I'd been resistance sort of in the mid-afternoon. So now the 710 flipped back to being a floor, and that gave us like a really strong pop upwards. Um, Q, QQQ's been a lot uglier all day. Like I've hated this kind of stack that it's held, but this SPY 710 node has just been paying both ways all day. And even QQQ like 659, I think was a big level. Um, so yeah, like definitely the 7130 for sure, good ceiling. Only thing is, yeah, downside limited, and you'll see like downside limited due to 710 on SPY, and you'll see like that's exactly where we popped off of. Now I assume Powell's also saying something that's causing it to move like this. Yeah, Powell for sure has to be saying something, but again, we can't control what he says, so we just have to make sure we're sticking to setups that are solid, right? All right, Krabby Pat. Yeah, the void. Yeah, yeah. QQQ today has been pretty ugly. Um, we've also just like if you look at the divergence today, it's insane, right? SPY has come and swept this 930, 945 low. Not even that. It's come and swept this 933 in a low. What, like one, two, three, four, five, like all day basically, right? QQQ has held above that wick all day. So like these kind of big divergence days are extremely frustrating to trade. Same thing now, right? Like QQQ sweeping high, so there's a chance we double top here, but then SPY is not even close, right? So that's probably what's giving rise, not giving rise, giving issues here, right? All right. AP, hopefully that helps. I guess yours wasn't really a question, it was more just you were sharing what you were viewing there. So yeah, I do agree with what you shared in terms of SPX individually. Uh, okay. UPS. UPS. So yeah, if UPS can hold this 105 level, looks like it can keep surging. The big thing with UPS though is I don't know if I'd try to play this 105 level this week or if I'd wait till OPEX week. Right. So the fact that like all that volume is there, sure, this can hold, but a lot of times I feel a lot safer trading them or taking them once those nodes actually catch up to the current week. So either we get a lot of growth at 105 next week or yeah, then I'd be waiting for 2 weeks out. But yeah, I guess the fact that it recovered most of its earnings this, well, it's hard to say if that means it's bullish or if this is just who knows the reason. Earnings is earnings, but yeah, you can say okay, we had a pretty strong reaction and bounce, so okay, yeah, so that's UPS. Yeah, yeah, no problem, JMF. All right, let me see here. Any other questions? Yeah, looks like that 7130 is now even flipping to a floor. Uh, I'm not too sure. I guess like yeah, at this point, I mean we're already quite past 710, but kind of retrace down to 7130, possibly 710, possibly even 661. So like if you consider this double top here, like this is a different, sorry, this is a decent level, right? That aligns with 661. If we can break well above it. Um, but yeah, that's a rough analysis I have. In terms of ceilings, we don't really have clear ceilings right now at the moment. Like I guess if you're waiting all the way for 55 on SPX, but at this point the ceilings are more chart wise, right? So I'd probably expect 7145 to give some trouble once SPX is at its high of day. But other than that, at least the maps at the moment are not giving us too much. Yeah, okay. Any other questions? I don't know if there's much else I need to go through today then. What are my thoughts on 7205, 7060, 705? Basically nothing devoid. Like at this point, we have a Keynote 30,000. I'm ignoring anything that's under like, I don't know, 8,000, 7 to 8,000, let's say. So yeah, those notes, I know they're like prominent. They're a little bit, they stick out a little bit for where they are. But I know 716, 7060, and 7065, I do know for a fact were like present really strong all morning. So then the fact that those died off is actually like good. Um, but but yeah, I wouldn't be interested in either of those pockets unless we get some like crazy growth in that direction. People are saying it's an iron condor. Oh, I mean, when? Yeah, if they said that at, I don't know, between 10 and 11 a.m., sure. They're saying that right now, then they need to, yeah, they gotta, yeah, please don't trade that. Okay, yeah. If they said that in the morning, yeah. So a lot of times what I'll do, um, what I do in your case, Devoid, is go to my channel. It's probably something we can chat about as well. But any spread recap I post is showing. I do the same thing, right? Where I don't look at every node, but within reason, I'm looking at every major node I see and making sure that my legs are outside of that, right? So, those, like I said earlier, if that 7055 and 7060 was very strong in the morning, you could be trying to sell outside that way, past there, your sell leg. So, and likely with it being FOMC, it's possible actually you could have collected pretty decent premium on something like that. Is Atlas only on Pro? Yes, Atlas is only on Pro. So there's discounts if you're interested, but just let me know and I'll send you a code for it. Nico, can I take a look at side by side? Yeah, sure. I generally don't, but yeah. So actually, probably you guys have noticed, I generally just don't use Atlas at all. Um, Usually when I'm showing Atlas, it's because I'm on a phone call or a live stream or something. So if I did though, so we can make this comparable, what we can do is have, all right, so we can show SPY. Oh man, computers, my computer's butt. So when would I use Atlas? Uh, I mean, I use Atlas just because, like, for curiosity purposes. I'll be honest. Like, I don't really have any need for Atlas. Like, I think the reason I use it is just if I'm ever curious to check like Gex plus Vex data, or if I want to bucketize the groups. But I'm comfortable enough with Trinity that that's where I spend my whole day. Like, anytime I'm looking at the charts and the charts. I'm looking at the chart plus Trinity. Also, Atlas has this weird like auto zoom. It's annoying. All right. So yeah, let's say, I mean, yeah, if we're day trading, right, we want to have Atlas on current. You want to have it on Gex. What are we seeing here? So again, the 710 level, the one I've been mentioning before, like this has played out what, once, twice, three, four, and then five, right? So like this 710 level has been massive all day. And then I think, yeah, the 658 as well has held pretty strong as a floor on QQQ. But Atlas I think is better because it's a lot of times, especially for people who are new, it shows you how the nodes fade in and out. Like it shows you the emergence. So for example, the 711 node, right? This is something that it's still quite small, but it's something that's growing. Like it's definitely increasing in volume as we pushed higher, right? So we broke above, and now it's increased in volume. So now you say, okay, like I'd be willing to play continuation off that 711, right? So like something like this is a little trickier to capture on just Trinity, whereas Atlas will show it a little nicer. Um, but but yeah, like I don't know, for like at least right now, Atlas for me is still very experimental. Like it's just been released. People don't even know like what are the best settings for it. Like there's still a lot that needs to be explored about it. So that's the reason I always in cases like that, I also want I want to be looking at the standard heat map and verify everything. Anything I pull off Atlas, I verify with the normal heat map because it's the same data, but if you display it differently, it can throw you off at times. All right. Who asked this question? Top zero. Yeah, so top zero. Yeah, I don't know if there's really a question there. If you just wanted to sort of see the side by side, but yeah, hopefully that helps. All right. E, does it show? Yeah, it shows the nodes on the chart. So basically, it's showing the ones that you specify. So like, if I only wanted to look at the three strongest nodes, that's all it's gonna show. Whereas if I want to go to, I don't know, I think I had it on 10. There's not really any reason I had it on 10. I guess I could equally just switch this to 5. All right. But yeah. Okay, Shorty, if we have a map like A-lit, huge purple node above price, does that mean we have a lot of negative gamma positions like selling calls sitting there? Right, Shorty. So it's like we don't know that it's all sold calls. It could also just be bought puts, but yes, those kinds of orders should be sitting there. Wait, did I get that backwards? No, that should be correct. Oh, actually, A-lit. I was talking to someone on the phone about this yesterday. Who was that? Where is this node? Oh, it's at $2. Yeah, I mean, $2 hitting is ambitious. Uh, oh, this is an issue. This $2 note should be negative, I think. Wait, what? Sorry. This feels wrong to me. Yeah, I'm almost positive this should just be negative. I don't get why it's. Yeah, sorry. Let me make a note about this. All right. Um, Shorty, I just remember Hana Komatsu playing such strange maps in the past. Oh, Yeah, Shorty, I would go read through Hunt's Twitter. Like, I'll be honest, the I don't like playing tickers that are that cheap. Because yeah, it does kind of just turn into like you just need some kind of squeeze for us to get any kind of big move. So I know he caught BYND like a really big move, but I don't know. I mean, me personally, I don't like to play any of those like really cheap tickers. All right, can I look at Hood? Yep. Hey, Hood just had earnings, so let's see. This is gonna have a map probably pretty similar. Actually, not that similar. So Hood, we can probably go to like I don't know, maybe the next 3 weeks. Looks like Hood on the. Oh, okay, that would be these nodes right here. So Hood does have a lot of upside. I would expect, since it dropped so big on earnings, that what you're gonna see happen. Same thing I said for was it UPS? I don't remember which ticker, but like since we got such a steep drop, probably what's gonna happen is a lot of this volume from 84, 85 is gonna roll lower towards like 75, 80, which these have already started to grow. And even 65, 65 has picked up a lot of volume, right? Um, so yeah, a lot of times after earnings, tickers will have these leftover VEX nodes very far to the upside or downside, depending which way the earnings went. So just be cautious with those. So top zero, does that answer your question? Guess I'll chart Hood as well just to double check, but so Hood. Yeah, it looks like I have a bit lower. So honestly, that would be where this floor is right now, 68, or even that 65 floor from OPEX week. So probably be waiting for it down here before any kind of Hood long thesis. Is it possible to see a node change plus minus? What do you mean by that? On Atlas, on Trinity, or like what is? Not sure what you mean there. Like a flow, but for a node? Oh no, I mean you have to go into replay. Like you have to go into the replay mode and just start flicking through them. It's not like it's I mean with the velocity we have info for like, what happened over the past up to 15 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours in a day, but that's it. So with obviously for individual tickers, you're gonna need a bigger time frame than just 1 day. So for that, you kind of have to do it yourself on the replay. So yeah, whether you're using Discord maps or website, either way, just use the replay, whichever one is working, and then or whichever version you have, and then that's how you can gauge some of these nodes. All right. We're actually getting a big reversal here. Okay, yeah, anything else? Think what? Yeah, we're at about an hour, so unless there's more questions, I might just cut it here to go. I have to film a recap from yesterday, and then also I have to film a video on the velocity mode. Baggins, where do I think Marvel goes? Give me a second. Some yeah, Marvel looks like it had had a really nice level, 150, 150, 149. Oh, actually, it's still there. Yeah, I thought it would have bottomed out yesterday, and that would have been the bounce and continuation. But I guess you can look for a double bottom there. If we get continuation, yeah, I guess you're pushing towards 165. Probably maybe this week up here, maybe this week here. Then if you have more time, you'd probably just be, hanging it out for this 176. But yeah, 165 is potential reversal zone back down. Has pretty good volume next week and this week. It re what? Oh, what does Atlas say? Uh, I don't know. Let's look. And the projection is based off nodes, right? So like if y'all are looking at the Vex, you're looking at the same data we're using for the projection. Just want to clarify that. There's not. I mean, there's some calculation in here of like weighting the difference between Gex and Vex, whatever. But there's not like some secret. At least right now, not that I know of, there's not some like crazy secret sauce in here, right? Like it is just based off what volume you're seeing, anyways. So like the fact that this is pointing straight down, does not surprise me at all because we have this huge 115 node on Marvel, right? So yeah, like don't take the projection as law. Like this is just it's basically just showing where we have major data, major volume on the Vex especially. Um, but yeah, is Marvel gonna go to 149 by May 1st? Uh, maybe. $6 drop actually not out of the question. Oh, Marvel has this weird thing where it's like the strikes are. Oh, that's why this was looking so weird. So yeah, the strikes are by dollar up to 150, and then after that they're every 2.5. So it's yeah, there's actually more space between some of these nodes than I thought. All right, Baggins, yeah, any question there? Overshoot to the 146? I would probably not be targeting 146, 45, 145. I would just 149, 150 is already enough, I would say. Is it giving a weight to Gex? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the projection for sure is giving a weight to Gex and Vex, merging them together. But then it's also weighting, it's probably just like a weighted average or something similar based on the actual node volumes. But yeah, I don't know if I'd hold all the way down to 146. I mean, leave some runners, I guess, but that 149 level is pretty major on the chart as well, right? Top zero, do I look for conflict? Yeah, yeah. I mean, like anything I'm doing, I'm looking at the chart. I'm looking at Trinity, right? So that's also going to be very important. So yeah, I think always trading in isolation is like you're shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. If you're trading any map in isolation, if you're trading I don't know, let's say heat maps without the chart, like there's so many ways you can sort of restrict yourself. So yeah, like you don't need to have 34 confluences or anything, but like having two or three other things that you want to see combined is absolutely very useful. All right, but yeah, top zero. I guess yeah, I don't know. Are you talking indexes, individuals? Like there's a lot of different kinds of confluence. How so? I mean, if you're on the indexes, right, you want to look for okay. Do SPY and QQQ have a floor at the same level or roughly the same level, right? Like that's a good confluence. Obviously, if you're trading, I don't know, Rocket Lab, you can't get that confluence, right? Because there's no Rocket Lab Part 2 that we can see a heat map for. So there's other ways to find confluence on individual tickers, which would be you want to be tracking what are if there's any sympathy tickers, what are they doing? If there's a sector ETF, well, how is that looking, right? So if you're looking at Nvidia, a good confluence, if Nvidia looks bullish, a good confluence would be SMH looking bullish or Soxel, not Soxel, SOXL, right? Um, or if you notice, I don't know, Nvidia, AMD, if like all chip sector looks bullish, then that's also another good confluence, right? So it changes based on what you're trading, is my point. It's not just, it won't always be the same. Another thing you can have is Gex Vex confluence, right? So if you have very strong Gex level, it aligns with the Vex level, you may say, okay, I think this is going to hold a support a little better than if it was just the Gex level without any Vex volume. So there's many different things. The individual tickers is like hard to say like, oh, it's just these few things. You know, I know the with indexes it's a little simpler. You can just say like, oh, you have 2 out of 3 alignment. That's all you need. The individual tickers actually gets a little trickier, but it's sort of a different ball game. That makes sense. So that's what I mean by you can't really take one. It's not always going to be the same applied to both. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Top zero or topo. Uh, yeah, that as well. Like some people will use stuff on their own, right? I really like charting wise. I just do support resistance. Like I'm pretty simple. Well, I'll use like fib retracements at times. And then on indexes, I'm also learning to do standard deviations. But um, yeah, absolutely. Another thing you can look at is okay, I don't know, are we hitting a second deviation on the VWAP? And then some people use that and say, okay, now I'm looking a little bit more bearish, right? So it's yeah, there's absolutely other stuff you can pull in. So everyone will have their own other confluences they can use. Um, the only thing I'll say is like make sure something that can be used for reversals, right? Like um, so for example, EMAs, right? If you're playing the 21 EMA and you're playing, okay, if we retrace to the 21 EMA, I'm gonna play a bounce continuation. That's fine. Like that's still a reversal. But if you're playing, okay, I want to see the 9 EMA cross the 21, that's different, right? Because that's more of a confirmation signal. So just make sure the confluences you're using align. Because if there's something that just completely different, like a completely different style of trading, it's just not going to be helpful. It's going to be more confusing than anything. So that's the only warning I'll give. Is make sure you're using a proper confluence. All right, 9 EMA devoid. Yeah. Again, devoid. If it's like if you're using it to play, like if it's a trend and you're playing like continuation reversals back up, that's fine. But yeah, the EMA crosses, especially like those concern me. Usually those are just confirmation. So like by the time you enter off an EMA cross, like that move's already gone. That moves it's already moved, a good 30%. So and then also like yeah, I don't know. I guess a lot of times when people are struggling, it's often better to remove a lot of the confluences and just like simplify what their setup is. So it's just less variables to focus on, right? if you're tracking 10 different confluences, it's just that much more your brain has to go through, process, etc., and it's going to be that much more difficult to make quick quick decisions that you're still confident in, right? Will this video be posted on YouTube? Yeah. Top zero. This will be posted. Yeah, any session I do, well, I didn't used to, but going forward, I think over the past week and going forward, any session I do should be recorded. Um, so like all the office hours, and I'll just post it. Either check my YouTube or I also have like a little thread in the Skylit. What did I call it? Like the resource team resource or something in the server that should also have all the videos in there. So yeah, in case you missed a portion or if you want to revisit something in here later. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, give me a second here. All right. Okay, yeah, anything else? Otherwise, I might end this here. Yeah, I know today was FOMC. It's leaning into this all week. Whether it's FOMC, a mix of that, and just general chop, it's been pretty restricted. So we'll see how the rest of the week goes. But I would hope the hope is now that that catalyst has gone through, um, that the market will sort of breathe a little healthier now. We can see a bit more movement. So that's the hope, but who knows? I've seen crazier things. They may keep messing with us all day, or not all day, but all week. Um, but yeah, okay. Yeah, in that case, thanks everyone for joining. Always feel free to join these sessions, ask anything, message me at any point. But yeah, I hope everyone had a good day and has a good rest of the week as well.